everyone, and welcome to the EVOLVE Voices podcast, a platform to hear about the fascinating story behind the people that power global commerce. I am Mayssa Nasr, a marketing and growth consultant, and I am your Middle East host of EVOLVE Voices. Today, I am joined by Engineer Said Al Shanfari, CEO of the OCAC, which is the Oman Convention and Exhibition Center, and who is also Forbes Middle East Top 100 Travel and Tourism Leaders for 2024. Said is a forward-thinking leader at the forefront of Oman's transformation into a regional and global destination for tourism events and innovation. He has a rich background in the telecom and tourism sectors, and he's a graduate of the National CEO Program and the holder of degrees from top universities. He's also a certified coach and an advocate for empowering future leaders in Oman. So in this episode, we will explore leadership, vision, and what it truly takes actually to build a hub that not only serves Oman, but puts it firmly on the global map today. Said, welcome to the EVOLVE Voices podcast, and thank you very much for accepting my invitation.
Thanks, Mayssa, for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to connect an international global network of friends and interested people who like to learn more about different parts of this world and then explore different leadership in different styles. So thank you so much for the opportunity and for this platform.
So Said, to begin, mainly for our global audience, right? Could you please help us place Oman on the global map? So where actually is it located? And what is it best known for?
Oman is one of those countries that sometimes it kind of comes to you from fairy tales and the stories of long time ago where things were so beautiful and amazing and peaceful and friendly. And that's what Oman is still all about that. It's the fairy tale of a country that has a mix between heritage, beauty, values, human beings, and human in general. Oman is one of the few places in the world that you can still connect to people's lives and see the experience of day to day. Oman sits in the Arabian Peninsula. It's neighbored with Saudi Arabia and UAE and Yemen in one side. But we also have access to the Indian Ocean. So we are probably the longest coastline in the Arabian Peninsula. It's over 3,600 meter of front seaside. We are located nicely in the middle between Europe and Asia and Africa. From Oman, it's a 7 hours flight to 70% of the world. And Oman had the leverage of nice weather in general. It can get really hot in summer, but anywhere in Oman, you can always escape somewhere if you want to have a cooler weather. So you can just drive an hour and a half. You can go to Jabal Akhdar, which is an hour and a half from Muscat, and then you will experience a temperature of 18 degrees. If you drive a little bit farther, 10 hours from Muscat, you go to Salalah, then you'll be surprised of Kharif and the monsoon season, which the rain and the cooler temperature of 20 degrees and 18 degrees as well. But also, Oman is very diverse in terms of environment, in terms of landscaping. It has the mountains, it has the deserts, the beautiful beaches, many different type of beaches. Being an Omani myself has not even explored 70% of the country. Wow. And there's so much to explore because Oman is actually quite big in terms of size, almost 3 times the size of UAE, almost half the size of Saudi Arabia. It's a large country. People are located in many different parts of this country. Oman also have a long history in Silk Roads, connecting the Arabian Peninsula to the China through the Silk Roads path. They had exchange cultures, history with Africa, Persian, India, and many different places. It's very normal in Oman. You see people speaking 3 to 4 languages. Arabic and English is the basic 2 languages, but you have people who speak Persian, Urdu, Indian, Swahili, and you connect with them through their food and cultures and stories. People live in Oman in a very harmonic way. You don't notice the difference if this is an Arab or someone who have roots in different parts of the world or not. Everybody in the same place, use the same restaurants, use the same prayer areas. Everybody's connected and under one umbrella of national Omanis. Oman is known of the people who appreciate life, who appreciate quality of relationship, and they always take things in a cooler manners, always positioned to be the peacemaker between nations. And as we probably recently hear the role Oman playing between the relationship globally around the world between people who have conflicts. And Oman always position themselves as we mind our business and everybody else mind his own business. And that has taken us years and miles away from any conflicts. So we're always in good relationship with so many people around us. We have a best relationship with our neighbors, no matter who they are. And we always, Omanis position themselves as friendly, human, kind, generous people, which we're very proud of to be. And finally, but not least, one person who said, what's the secret? Why you guys are really who you are? And I say, it's just God has given us that peace, that internal peace that we like to enjoy. And I think we're very proud of who we are, and we are a proud nation, and we like to keep ourselves. Oman is in a way as much as exciting as I told you now, but it's a hidden jewel. So only people who appreciate it will discover it.
Beautiful. And as you said, I know few Omanis, including yourself, and it's true that you have this inner peace within you, which is remarkable. We'll get into how you role and how you are positioning today Oman through your work as a global hub. But before that, tell us, so you have a diverse background, right, in both telecommunications and tourism. So what led you today to your current role?
Well, it's funny to say, as much as I loved my previous job, and I even love more my current job, I have always attracted in my domain the willingness to be the ambassador of my country. I love traveling, and I love seeing different people from different nations, and I appreciate life in a very deep way. I like to hear people's stories, where they come from, their childhoods, their cultures, their backgrounds, and I like to see how nations they are. And everyone has his unique background, their unique identity, and that's something always inspired me. And throughout my life, I traveled to many places in the world, and I'm blessed to have a lot of friends across this globe. And when I travel somewhere, I always connect with someone who I have shared life with and I shared stories with. And so when I was in the university, I always thought, how can I become the best ambassador for my country? How can I become that individual who always carry the question towards people? How come we see you as an Omani and then we love you so much, or you present it so well, and how can we see more of that? And I always say, come to Oman. You see more of me then. That's easy, yeah? So when I started the job, my telecom was based passion for me at the beginning, where I graduated from the technology background and I wanted to do something in technology. 20 years ago, telecom, and still very, very dynamic and very important, and it has changed people's life. Internet has changed people's life. And I came in earlier at that time when network was evolving and telephones are becoming smartphones and people start using touch screens and everything. So I really came at the time where technology was at the top of the game, which is very important. But there was always this thing inside me that I still wanted to explore. Okay, this is good money, good technology, good development, good innovation. But what else can I do? Friends of mine who knows me very well, I used to travel with them in the summer and everything, and we used to walk, we do our hikes and everything. I said, listen, I would love to have this job that allow me to travel the world, meet many more people from the world, speak passionately about my country, and invite people to come to Oman. And they would be laughing at me what are you talking about, man? It's like, that job doesn't exist. I'm like, but I would love to do that. I would love to be in a job where it gets me to travel at least once a month, go somewhere else, meet new people, challenging them about the knowledge of Oman, that country that everybody kind of miss when they travel. And then I would love to do that. And I speak proudly of every accomplishment we do. Now, this is 7 years ago when I got this job. So say 9 years before this was the conversation I was having with my friends. And then when I got called for this position through a headhunter, I was like, you better be kidding me.
You attracted it.
Because it sounds like exactly what I was praying for. And guess what? The first interview went very well with the agent. And then they called me back in 2 weeks time and they were like, the board of the company wanted someone who has experience in this field. So you coming from telecom company, you're a nice person. We love your energy. We love how great ideas you have, but maybe it's not meant for you. So I went on with my life with telecom and I was going on, just practicing my normal days. But I was curious inside my mind, how close that got, to me. And then, but I said, maybe it's for good. Yeah. Sometimes the universe works its own ways. Yeah. 2 weeks later on, I got a call again from the agent. They're like, hey, listen, are you still free? The board did not find anyone good from the industry. Now they're exploring outside the industry. Maybe you're still interested. And I said, yeah, okay, I'm interested for sure. Yeah. And this is then how the universe also takes its own path when it wants something to happen.
Exactly.
And I said, okay, so when you want me to come in? They're like, oh, you'll have an interview in a couple of days. And I said, okay, should I prepare something? They're like, maybe read a little bit about mice. And I was like, what is mice? as after 7 years, that can still be funny for me, And that's mice basically what's meeting, is exhibition and conferences and incentive means. Yeah, that's mice.
Yeah.
Meeting, incentive, conference, and exhibition. And that's actually the business. That's the core business of why I should be the CEO of this place. So I was like, okay, fine. Then I Googled mice and I started researching in 3 days what the sector is all about. Because I mean, one thing I give to myself, I think I have a strong intuition of what the business should look like. I mean, I always had these ideas of being the consumer myself, of using these services. So that helped me from telecom. Being positioned as a world traveler, being positioned as someone who likes to bring people in, kind of helped me to say, okay, what's attractive product that can bring people in? But then, just to continue that story, and I know that it's a long story, but it's a good one. It can get a little bit better. When I arrived to the interview, it was the first time for me entering to the building of where I'm going to be the CEO of, after. The building opened only a few months, and I've never been there. Head of security received me at the door, and he's like, excuse me, sir, how can I help you? And I was like, I'm here for an interview. And he's like, is that for the CEO position? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, okay, come with me. So I started walking with him. And he's like, what's your good name? I said, my name is Said Shanfari. He's like, you know what? I've heard about you. I think you are the best one. You will get this position. What? What do you mean you will get this position? He's like, no. I heard about you. You work in telecom, yeah? Yeah, I think you are the one. You're going to get it. Like, I don't even know you. I don't know the board. Imagine the boost I had, like this complete random stranger telling me. And then he went away and came back after 5 minutes with booklets about the center. Like, this is how many rooms we have. This, I was like, yeah, thank you so much. I mean, not all this information from the research I did yesterday, but okay, it's good to have more information. So I went to the interview and I nailed it. Like, I think I nailed what they were looking for in terms of understanding of the sector. And I got the job. 1 week down the road, I got an offer and I left my telecom past life. And here I am for the last 7 years in the sector, leading one organization that has double-digit increment in the last 4 years. And positioning ourselves strategically across the region of one of the most attractive venues to attract international events and local events. So
it's a beautiful story. So tell me, so you're talking about how you're positioning the Oman Convention Exhibition Center as global hub today for events and conferences. So how actually are you positioning it? What are you doing?
When I look back at all of this again, and that follows rightly with the story I had a plan. Within 90 days, I'm going to craft the next 5 years strategy. And I had to understand how this business runs in a day-to-day basis for me to understand what are the challenges, the opportunities, and everything. So within 90 days, I already crafted a 5-year strategy, which got implemented, and we evaluated it just a year ago. Now we're in version 2 of the strategy, which is the next 5-year strategy, which I will talk about it also. Okay. But the most important part is to focus in doing the basics right. What is event business is all about? How can we increase awareness of mice business in the country? Not so many people understand what mice means here. And I think that globally now people are picking up to understand what is, meeting, incentive, and exhibition and conferences all means. What does it bring to the economy of the country? How tourism get impacted by it? How economy get impacted by it? How much effect in the global travel trend that this is impacting as well. And now it's picking up slowly. In Oman, it's just we're a little bit behind because what we had was an older center that only did in exhibitions, maybe a quarter of what we have today. So one of the main objectives was increase awareness. We go and meet stakeholders. We did stakeholder planning, stakeholder management. We met internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. The other part also, we need to be in every international platform. We need to go to attend UFI, ICA, PCA, and the other platform where exhibition organizers, where associations will be existed, where vendors are existed. We need to be at any platform that tell people that we are available in Oman. We are there. We volunteered in different programs. We sponsored different programs because we wanted people to see at least Oman exists and Oman has a center. And the first 2 years, the main objective was just an awareness and fixing the basics, awareness and fix the basics. And when we speak about the basics, we're speaking about our internal process, procedures, how we deal with prices, how we deal with complaints, how we deal with customer focus, how can we deal with customer experience. And coming from telecom, that was maybe the strength I relied on because telecom was much more advanced when it comes to customer experience. It's much more advanced in terms of data analytic, pricing analysis, and also finding the right price line where customers will not feel the pain, but they will see the values. And I come from a place where competition is high. where your unique selling points has to be there, has to be strong, has to be visible. You need to address every market. Every segment is an important segment for you. It's not just the lower segment, but also you need the high segment, the low segment, corporate segment. You need to deal with everyone. And you need to connect with people. You need to show them who you are. From day one, we said, this is not a building. This is a movement. This building is a movement to create a future MICE economy in the country. And if anyone positions this as a building, that's mean we're not doing our homework right. Because we are not just selling space, we're selling an experience. We're selling an opportunities. We are selling hope for the future, for something better. So we always refer back to every major event that happens in the country. We said, this is where the national strategy was launched. This is where the launch of this brand has happened. This is where the agreement has happened. This is where 100,000 students attended in one day the book fair, the science festival. This is where you graduates. Today we host over 18 graduation a year at the center. So over 20,000 people graduate from the center. Doesn't matter if they graduate from their universities. It doesn't matter where they went in school for the last five years. But at the end of the day, where they take their pictures? At OCEC. And that's the subconscious, supple, connection and unwritten connection they have with this place. When people comes here, they just don't see the big halls and the comfortable spaces, but they also feel the experience of being somewhere where they park their car nicely, got easily to their halls, and experienced the conversation. They got the deal done. And then they started the new life from this point. We have wedding. We also hosted weddings. So people life starts here. We say OCEC is where events happens, is where memory takes place, is where values, a turnaround in your life happens. And then that's where we want people to remember of. So we said, first thing in our strategy, first in mind venue for you, OCEC. That's the target. That's our strategy. OCEC should be the first on mind venue for your any events concept. And at the beginning, it didn't really come clear to everyone, to my team. There was a bit of debates. Maybe this guy come from a telecom. He think this how it works. And it was funny because I enjoyed having that debates with them. And I said, just wait. Just give it a chance. Just let go now. Just go with the flow. At the beginning, we tried something called cost per square meter. So normally venues charge per square meter. So we also have an element called cost per square meter. So when I came first, I asked everyone, so what's the cost per square meter? They're like, we don't use this term here. And what do you mean you guys don't use this term? If you have price per square meter, why don't you have cost per square meter? They're like, no, here we use just a cost per hall. So that's how we calculate the cost per hall. I'm like, no, but each hall is different. Each hall looks different. So you need to cost per square meter. They're like, no, leave your telecom terminologies behind you and move on, my friend. And then like, you know where that come from? It's actually cost per gigabyte. Cost per second. And that's where I thought about it from. It makes it so much easier if I do cost per square meter. It took me a year with the team to start realizing what's the cost per square meter for every cost we have here. And I'm going to connect this point to the previous point of how we see the future. And at the beginning, they resist. They're like, no, we're not going to do this. This is, this guy is going to make us work so hard. At the end of the day, he's just going to probably tell us what we already know. We did that. We had that document, and then we start doing a lot of scenarios in the Excel sheet. Show me if there was no event at the center, what will be the bare minimum cost we have to still pay? What if we have no events? And then we start coming to event. Our payroll will be this. This is how they're expensive, so there's no cost of sales type. If I have a carpet in that room, how long does it take me until I replace that carpet? So what's the lifespan of that carpet? What's the lifespan of those bulbs? What's the lifespan of that table? So then it starts making sense. And guess when did this happen? And when was the time when cost becomes such an important factor for us?
Why?
COVID. This was a discussion we had in 2017. 2020 were like, now we got an instruction that we have to lower our cost to the minimum because there was no events. So what did we use? Our Excel sheet. And that's when it worked. That's when the magic happened. I refused to reduce anyone's salary throughout COVID. And I had every tool to reduce everything else, but not the salaries. Because salaries were, for me, from that calculation, was the red zone. But everything else I could reduce. I could close rooms. I could close maintenance. I could delay contracts. Because I already know what the expense is going to look like.
Yes.
So I know it's a long answer for a simple question. But telecom got a lot to do with what I had accomplished here. And if it wasn't that feeling or understanding of how telecom elements works together to, at the end, serve an organization or serve a client or serve end customers, I think I will still have to figure out how MICE should look like today. But it's just the way how we looked at it It was more of a hybrid way between customer focus and generating a sentimental value for what you have when you come to OCEC. It's all about the feeling rather than just the space.
Thank you, for telling us all the story. I think it's very inspiring. So you told us, about internally what you changes, how you were positioning the OCEC on the national level. Now, if we move to the international event scene, what are the unique selling points today of Oman as a country and of OCEC if I'm an event organizer and I'm looking internationally for any actually center? So what would make me pick OCEC in particular?
Along the side with what we mentioned about the quality of life in Oman, location-wise, opportunity as a business, because Oman also attracts a lot of investment. As we speak, there is an easy to make business now. There is a way to one point that you can just visit and then you can open your own business. And there's a lot of government focus in a way to attract a lot of international investors. When we go and pitch for international conferences, we always tell people, you've probably been in a lot of parts of the world, and then you've been in those major cities that people can normally, wish to go to. But guess what? Oman is one destination that people haven't thought about yet. It's in their calendar. They've heard about, but it gives you will be the reason why they go and visit. So it's one of those countries that you can do the check in your list and say, I've been there, but it's been attractive, very attractive for you. But the chance has not yet come because you didn't have a business meeting or a conference or an exhibition. Because when it comes to a vacation, the competition is higher. So you're like thinking, should I go to Oman on vacation, or should I go to Dubai or Thailand or Africa? Like you start thinking. But because Oman is just sit in that unique quiet corner, so you need to have a reason. So when a conference or an exhibition happens in Oman, people will have the reason. There will be more opportunity for them. Connect flights wise, there's direct flight from Oman Air to Muscat. There's over 40 destinations or more through Oman Air, but there's over another 100 destinations from different parts of the world. They come to Oman. But we have also a nearby, the best airlines around the world located just next to us in UAE by Emirates or Qatar Airways next door, which is like an hour flight from there. Hospitality-wise, language-wise, infrastructure, over 30,000 rooms across the country available for people to come in. Transportation system is very easy in Oman. Airport located in the middle of the city. There's so many factors that make this place ready to receive big events. And we noticed gradually the growth of event sector in Oman. In the last 3 years since COVID finished, we're growing by double digits every year. More visitors, more events, different type of events, but there's diverse of these events. So I think internationally we have a profile and a product that a lot of people will be very interested to take a look at, and then we're happy to discuss with them, and we're happy to bring to put down any challenges they might face and connect them to the right people. That is important. And Oman has that feel. Anyone who comes from outside, we feel like we want to do our best to host them and show them around and give them gifts and everything, and that's what we do. We appreciate anyone who comes to visit us from outside, and we want to show them the best of who we are.
Nice, very nice. Said, let's talk more about you now and your leadership style a bit. So you took the National CEO program too. So how have the biggest lessons, that you took from this National CEO program, how have they shaped today your leadership style? Have they helped you in your leadership style? Did you change anything? Because you are known to be, a visionary leader. So can you tell us more about that?
The National CEO program was one of the milestones that I had in my life that also transformed me from probably a middle manager or middle executive to seeing things in a different way. And I think that is how throughout my first 1 year helped me to see things so along the side of my telecom understanding, marketing, customer experience, the strategy part kicked in from this part of the education that I got. This is looking back at almost 10 years ago. The government announced sending 100 people. They will send them through a proper leadership program to prepare them to become the next future leadership. And I was lucky when I applied for this, 7,000 people applied throughout the program. And I was selected among 30 people who was going to go in the first year, and actually 40 people. And then, because they had some good 40 candidates, they decided to move me to the next batch instead of the first batch. So when they announced it second year, they're like, you don't have to apply for anything. We just want to make sure that you're still around, and we'll just do an interview with you so we can see your face. But then we will go. So I got selected in the first round, and then I left in the second round, second year. But everything happens for a reason. Now, Mayssa, you will understand. The universe had its own ways, yeah? So the first batch was the guinea pigs. So they learned a lot from the first batch. So when I came second time, I was like, okay, now good. They already fixed a lot of problems throughout the education program. So it worked. But the most important part of the International SEO program, not only the education, the exposure to big corporates around the world, and the amazing professors and doctors that we have. They shared their life experiences and their theories with us, and their books and thoughts and process and discussion. But it's actually in the network. So we were with 30 people, 30 like-minded people who have very ambitious, very smart, think outside the box, very innovative. They have a mentality of making a difference. And they all want to be the best, and they all want to be national, and they all wanted to make something amazing. So when the decision came in when I was in telecom to move to to travel industry or to the OCEC, I didn't think twice. I get paid less, I had less benefits, but I was like, if I can create an opportunity there, I can create an opportunity here. Money will come eventually. And when it comes, it's gonna flow. It's not gonna drip, but it's gonna flow. But I just need to create it. I just need to make it happen. I need to create that opportunity there. So the conversation we've had with my colleagues and friends during the National SEO program, they were the one that enriched me with thought and process and thinking out the box, thinking of creating something green, thinking of unique selling points, understanding the ecosystem of the country, the ecosystem of the geopolitical. There was a lot of discussion we've had throughout the program that really crafted the personality of a leadership that I have today.
Okay.
And for the last 10 years, we continue to become a strong network that we talk to each other. I see them at every event I have at the center. They're the first to greet me. We talk to each other. We connect easily because we've gone through that program together. After that, the country at that time did 100, a group of 100. Now, and they stopped for almost 10 years. This year they launched the fourth batch actually. As we speak now, the fourth batch is of 30 people are yet to complete in the few months from now. Which means whatever they did first, it actually worked. And there's a good examples that came out from the National SEO program. Some of us became CEOs of organization, some in the C-suite, and others who become even undersecretaries and ministers from that program. So it worked. So there was a level of connection that we needed to apply and create that sense of importance and sense of global as well. Because from my experience now throughout the last 20 years, we can always do something. We can do something so much amazing, even coming from inside. We can just do it ourselves. We also we need to be global to connect with the rest of the world, but we can do something that's completely different. And we should think big, not think small. Pieces are not enough for us. We are hungry. That's what I keep saying to my friend. We're hungry. I need a feast. I cannot just accept a sandwich anymore.
And how do you lead? I'm not gonna say how do you manage. How do you lead?
I think the most important part of leadership is to be human to start with. It's very important to be human. As you know, you're not talking to strangers. That's exactly where you were before. They need to understand that you've been in their shoes. You have been in that position. You did not just drop from sky and you become a CEO. You started from the bottom, and you started by putting all these questions in your mind. So before everything, you need to be human to understand what they're thinking about and what are you thinking about. The second important thing is you need to start creating hopes for them. You need to show them, you need to sit in this bubble called hope, and you create something so amazing that they will see in the next 3 to 5 years, and you start building trust with them as close as they get to your bubble. Because they will not just jump into your bubble, they will just start walking and crawling to you. And every time you have to prove to them is what you're showing them. It's so amazing and it's gonna work, but you just need to trust me a little bit more. And by talking out with them step by step, because when you are in certain organization, you need to deal with the type of resources that you have. But when you are in the service sector, you deal with people who deals with customers. They deal with people who connect and interact with everyone who walks around, which is a venue. But if you work in a factory, is different. If you work in a mall is different. If you work in a telecom company is different. But you need to understand the culture and the ecosystem that works inside the culture for you to start creating an organizational culture that serve your values and your strategy. But at the same time, not to be far away. It's not a rigid structure, but you need to make it human. You need to make it related. You need to make it with a lot of care and empathy, that everyone knows everyone. The way how I lead, I will probably, if you walk with me around the halls, I will tell you the names of 95% of my staff, unless they got hired in the last 2 weeks, you know. But I will know almost every name of a person. If I walk in the hallway, I connect to the cleaners, the receptionist, the security guard, the guy who do the maintenance, and I have to stop and say, hi, how are you doing today? How's things going for you? And then I keep going. If I didn't have the chance to ask him for his name, I would just exchange with him the eye contact of saying, if you need anything, just let me know.
Okay.
And that's very important, because every single point of these people are actually your brand ambassador, and they are your experienced champion. So it's very important that I connect to everyone with them. But also, I'm a guy who, if I see something in the floor, I will go and pick it up.
Yes.
If I walk in next to a client and client doesn't see that I'm the CEO, and they said, we need more chairs in this room, I will probably go to the next door room and I will bring the chairs. And my team used to stop me so many times, like, Said, you're the CEO, you need to stop doing this. I said, he asked, and I couldn't resist. And I want to, that comes from a place of we have to be so tentative to our clients and request that even the CEO himself is a servant for this process. So don't be shy. If you have to pick up a seat, that doesn't mean that you are the lowest person in the organization. CEO probably lower than you. I will do it. There was a story of something called, you know, those lollipop they carry in some conferences to tell people where is the next holding area. Yes. So I went to one, I discovered there's a problem of directions when people leave some of the halls. So I proposed the lollipop. So I called one vendor. I said, listen, create for me 3 lollipop, bring them to my desk. So he brought 3 lollipops, and I sat with the event operation team. I showed it to them. I said, listen, guys, this is a lollipop that you can use to direct people to the next meeting area. And they're like, what should we do with this? I said, you just hold it. You just, like, we ask an usher who will hold it in front of the room, and people will start walking with that person to the next room. So they all looked at each other and they're like, okay, sure, we'll do that. 1 week passed by, 2nd week passed by, one event, another event. I didn't see the lollipop. So I called them. I said, guys, what happened to the lollipop? Yes, boss, but we need to tell you, we're not really comfortable of carrying those lollipops because they look so funny. And I was like, but there's no shame of carrying the lollipop. They said, no, but I said, you know what? When is the next event? I will carry the lollipop. And I was dead serious. And I started even asking them to print out the day, like what's the event and everything. And then when they saw me in the last minute still asking for the lollipop, one of them went and took the lollipop and said, boss, I can't do this. You are really, like, you're not blinking. And we're going to do it. So they went there and sat there for like half an hour. So I looked at them from my office, like, okay, there is someone standing there. That's great. And they took them to the room. And then after that, they disappeared. Then 1 month down the road, I was doing my walk. I do a monthly walk around in the building just to look at operation and everything. And I found the lollipop are stored in one of the stores behind some desks, so I don't see them. And they were like, you discovered the lollipop? I was like, that's what it needs from a leadership, is not only to find the solutions, but like go through the monitoring and pushing people to do things. I said, okay, you hide the lollipop, tell me your solution. And that's where the silence just happened, you know, at least that. So I try to lead by example. I try to show them that, all right, I am as low, if there is any low, I'm underneath all their services. I can do anything. If it required, I pick up the seat, I'll pick up the seat. I'll do it. The CEO is the servant for this process. He's not the boss of this place. He creates space for others to grow and to discover themselves. I'm not there to become like moral in this seat. The only things I want to leave behind is the legacy of the place and the success stories of people. That's it. And in day one, I told them this. And in day one, I told them, within 5 years from now, if I don't lose 30% of you to leave this company, then I will be a failure CEO. And they all looked at me like, and they're like, what are you talking about? You don't want us to be in this company? Is that how you see your relationship with us? You're just gonna like push us to leave? I'm like, you guys didn't get me. In the next 5 years, if I don't manage to develop you, train you, position you, and give you a better opportunity, so you can score higher in your next package and your next salary and your next position, then I fail to do my job. That's what I'm aiming to do. And if I maintain to make you stay, as long as you keep growing in the hierarchy and you keep growing in terms of responsibility, that's mean I'm doing a good job. But if you stay where you are for the next 5 years, That's mean not only I fail to do my job, but you also fail to do yours because you need to walk the walk with me. I can't run alone. If I'm gonna promise you to run, don't sit there and sleep. You need to run with me, because if you run, you're gonna gain something. If you don't run, then nothing's gonna happen. And that has been the way how we led this place. And I mean, God bless them all. All my team is actually got and believed what we were aiming to do. I'm proud of every single one of them who managed to turn around their lives. And today, they're leaders for their areas, they're experts of their fields, and they are people who deliver not just a best experience, but an expertise to others now outside of this organization. When we came in at the beginning, they were just crawling. Today, they teach how to do it.
That's a really great philosophy and a way of leading. I think this is the main reason why most, of the staff today at OCAC is happy, to go to work. Said, you're not only a CEO, you're also a certified life coach. You're also in several boards of many companies in the tourism tech, logistics industries. You are an entrepreneur also with multiple companies. So how do you manage all this? How do you manage your time?
Well, time, actually, when we say the most valuable commodity is time, 20 years ago, I always laughed at this statement. Like, seriously? Is that the most valuable commodity is time?
Yeah.
And at that time, I never thought time would be just a challenge or something that you cannot really, you wish you have 26 hours in a day or 30 hours a day. And I think even if you have more time, when you want to do something or want to change everything around you, no matter what time, how much time you have, it's still not going to be enough. And I think that is a challenge. I'm a guy who likes to take risk. I like to learn by diving. Like, I like to learn by jumping into the middle of the ocean and see what's going to happen. When I wanted to discover who I am, when I wanted to discover what is my strength and what's my weaknesses and how can I address my fears, I said, I gone through a lot of self-learning. I did a lot of, I did energy classes. I'm certified energy healer, by the way, but I don't practice it by say, but I start by learning it through me. And I gone through things that I never really thought I will have to go through to understand this flesh of meat and bones and minds and soul. What does it do? And how can I address the purpose of my life? What's the purpose of my existence at the end of the day? Like, is it like just to work, build a house, get married, and then live like everybody else? And after, God knows, 70, 80 years, you realize you just did exactly what everybody else is doing? Or you want to leave something behind that makes a little bit difference for other people's minds, touch the heart and mind of a lot of people and individuals. And I think that's what has kind of like drove me towards my exploration, was self-exploration. Out of all, I have gone through some of the leadership programs where I was provoked in terms of, do I really understand who I am? Do I really know who I am in terms of an individual? And how can I address my current weaknesses? And if I want to be the one who creates great things of the future, then I need to address my problems. And I need to know how can I take my strength to the next level. Back then, coaching was not something that a lot of people know about, to be honest. And we're talking about almost 8 years ago. Coaching was always a lucrative training or a lucrative kind of course, or only people who can afford coaching will get a coach back then. And I think in the last 10 years, coaching has evolved to become more addressable to every person around the world now, as we see a lot of life coaches around us. But when I got certified 7 years ago, it was only 3 people, 2 local Omani coaches in this country. And I was probably number 3 who got certified. And today there is probably over 100 coach of Omanis. And there's so many others who have sought coaching as a career. But I sought coaching mainly for me before I wanted to give to others. I want to know who I am. I want to know how. And every time I coach someone, it's a question I ask myself before I ask that person. Though my intuition is driving me to ask that question, I was like, oh my God, I really need to ask myself that question too. Seriously, how can I address that fear? And I am always like admiring every single person I coach. I say, as much as I coached you to see the potential of yourself, I saw the potential of myself throughout. And it helped me a lot of understanding. And there's days when I had to go through a lot of hard times. This was not an easy way to reach. And there was still a journey that continued to take me through a lot of, but at every step there was a challenge. At every step there was a point where I had to ask myself, is it worth it? Should I stop now? Is it too much of it? Can I take a break? And that just is not talking about managing OCAC per se, but I have a life also next to all of this. And you mentioned everything before. You said you are a board member, a life coach, you're this, but I also have a life. I have a family. I have a relationship. I have a network of people who I have to, and they demand a time for them as well. And I've learned throughout this is if you're asking things from a good place and you will look into make something that has a bigger impact of other people, God always bring you people to your domain who will help you with this process. And they will be like-minded like you. And so I partnered with people who have that same mentality. I have a board member in different companies, around 3 companies. One of them is actually related to space. And we are the first ever Omani company who actually launched a CubeSat to the space. There is the satellite named after this company called Salam Sat, named after the first company that started this, which is I'm part of the board and part of the initial team who initiated this company. But as a part of their board, and there is always, you need to continue inspiring yourself by finding those initiatives that puts you outside of your day-to-day. So if I say every day doing events, amazing, I won't be bored at all. How about space? How about energy? How about creating startups? So I understand how startup business works. And that's exactly what I did. I did another startup 3 years ago, which now we have 3 different big funds that investing on it. And we currently in process to create something that is very different from any other project that's outside there. But I have learned that you need to find the right partners. You need to create the right governance, and you need to find the right process that protect every steps along the way. And you need to equally try to find small amount of times where you put a quality time to execute, to exchange. And I've learned always that long conversation doesn't really help. Okay, I got the point. What's the next action point? What should we expect the outcome now? What should be the impact for them? What do you need? What is the next step? Because leaving meetings and leaving situations without creating a proper action, it doesn't really help to get anything done. And actually in life coaching, that's the last question any coach will ask you. So what's your action? By when are you going to do it? How would I know about it? And that's exactly what I do in the normal business. So what's the next action? When we can complete it? How would I know about it? With those elements, business happens. And that business is risk. You can make money, you can lose money. But guess what? Life is all about risk. You can't really reach anywhere if you don't take risk. You won't learn if you don't really fail. And if you drive in a straight line road, you'll only learn how to drive, but you will not know how to race. And you'll never know how to be the #1 champion in anything. You need to face challenges for you to become thicker, for you to have a thicker skin, and for you to learn how to have resilience against any challenges in life. But for that, you need to create those moments where you will be challenged. Otherwise, if you have so easy, no problem, quiet life, then guess what? Life will take you by surprise. And one day you'll be like, why this is all happening to me? You did not really put yourself up there. You need to go, and you need to do it when you're still young, and when you still have the energy, and you still have the capacity to talk to other people and consult with them. And you need to do it ASAP. No time to waste. With all of this comes accomplishment. Learn how to celebrate accomplishment. Learn how to celebrate small milestones. Don't forget your mind. Don't forget your body. Don't forget your soul. Exercise, travel, have fun. And guess what? At the end of the day, it will all line up. Here I am speaking to you now for the last 1 hour, completely enjoying this discussion. And there is 6 companies running on the sides as we speak, and many other businesses running. No one stopped them.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just need to learn to trust that it's going to be okay.
Very inspiring, Said. I can stay hours and hours talking, with someone like you. Very inspiring. It's very, very insightful. We're running out of time. I just have one last question for you that I usually like to, close the podcast. If you have one book to recommend, one book, which book will that be and why?
Oh my God. I have people who I've had this discussion with before. The people who, how can they say 97% of what we learn, actually 70% of what we learn in our life goes to the ground. We share only little of what we have experienced, what we've seen, stories and it's so unfair. So unfair for the future generation not to know how to overcome some challenges. And as we speak today about Generation Z, Generation Alpha, and every day life changes so fast. And in the past, when people took ages to learn how to make a fire and ages to learn how to use the internet, here you go. You have AI taking us by surprise. And then everyone now knows how to use AI, and it becomes the thing.
Yes.
So just to go back to relate to that question is just it. no matter how changes happens around us, I think there's valuable lessons that we all have to kind of like sometimes write down and then create something out of them and share it with people so they can take those theories and play with them and then maybe apply them. And throughout my life, I came up with a couple of theories like in life, you know, and sometimes I name them. And one of them called this is going to be my book title anyway. So, but if that book comes in place, maybe this recording will prove that I have intellectual property for it. Is the elevator manager. I have a theory about the elevator manager.
Okay.
And the elevator manager is the guy who sits inside the lift and click the button for you to go to the floor that you by your choice. You probably see him in some movies. Yeah, he's dressed very nicely. He actually works as a part of the concierge of the hotel.
Buildings. Yes. Of course. Yes, it's like a security guy who escorts you to the elevator, and then yes. I see what you mean. So that guy I called the elevator manager, and it's just so much beyond his job that you can be so fooled to understand, because you said he's a security guy. He makes sure he gets you to your floor. You'll probably ask him if there is something going on in the building, any maintenance, and maybe you'll ask him about where is the nearby supermarket. So he's also a travel agency. He's a tour guide. So if he explained his job, you'll be like, every building should have an elevator manager. They're missing out so much, don't you think? I agree.
But the elevator manager is just that layers of people who does not want to let go of innovations, because I don't need an elevator manager when I have today in AI and technologies and so many other things, the adaptation and lean and moving forward. There's always going to be an elevator manager somewhere at every organization you're going to go to. How do you address the elevator managers? That's the name of my book.
Nice. Well, you should. Did you start writing it? You should. If you still did not.
I start putting a lot of points into it, and I've been kind of like, every time I see this person, I always say, here you go, another elevator manager.
Well, I hope this conversation will be a push for you, right, to continue writing.
I promise you, if I make that book, I'll make it a lot of funny, because there's a lot of these stories that are actually funny stories. Until then you realize this elevator manager is just a whole theory. It's not just a job. It's actually a myth that exists in every organization.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Said, for this beautiful conversation. I learned a lot, so I think also the audience, learned a lot today. Thanks a lot. And for everyone who, stayed with us until the end, thank you. And as usual, keep evolving. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayssa. Thanks a lot.
Great. So this was another great episode. Evolve Voices is a podcast from Evolve Commerce Club, the #1 private community, where we connect senior commerce professionals in more than 40 markets. Every week, we invite one expert to share their perspective and their knowledge. If you want to know more about Evolve, look at the link in this episode description to request your invitation. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!